Alrighty. Hey, everybody. Good afternoon. I know that side said everything, but yeah, I've been kind of running around with my head cut off the last like 20 minutes, so forgive me. But the Never Ever Met episode for, um, what was it called? Disconnections or Disconnection?
Girl, I don't even know what that they have names for each episode.
Apparently they do. So I didn't realize it until Jay's. I noticed that the actual titles of Jay's lies were like correspond were actual the names of the titles of the episodes. So I noticed that last week, but I'm like 3 weeks late. But with
Right.
it,
It's kind of like not till after your live, everybody realized there was a bio for each of these couples.
exactly, exactly. Um,
Mm,
I don't know
mm,
whether
mm,
to
mm.
do couple by couple or just go from beginning to end of the episode because I mean either way, I
We
feel like
kind of we kind of cover bases when we go beginning to end. We cover it pretty quickly, unless we tangent.
yeah, true. um, gosh, I mean, I guess we can go from start to for beginning to end because I mean, I don't know.
So Greg is our official timekeeper who says it's been a week in the house.
Right? I was like, when did that happen though? Because I'm like, the last episode it was like 48 hours. So
Right, it's 48, then 72, and then all of a sudden Greg is like, "It's been a week. How y'all feeling?" It's like, er?
I'm glad I wasn't the only one. 'Cause I was like, wait a minute, like, did we just go through the Twilight Zone or something? Because that is news to me. I'm like, oh, I'm glad we're kind of like getting forward a little bit, but I mean, we're not really seeing them do much of activities. Cause didn't Tehran just say something like we're gonna be doing like they're gonna be doing like activities in the group and then individual activities amongst themselves and or dates, and we haven't really seen that
We
except for
haven't
the
we haven't seen it, but they say they've been doing it.
exactly. I'm like, so can you kind of show us it, please? Because what's the point of the show if we're not gonna actually see them bonding? Because isn't that the whole point is to bond in person? So that's what I was kind of like thinking of this episode. I was like, well, what are we doing? Like, are we just gonna see them fighting amongst themselves all season long? Because I
Because
don't
they
know.
gotta have something to do. They don't have the television, they don't have phones and social media. Or is it only when they're filming? I don't know. They gotta be having them do something to pass the time, or maybe this explains why they in everybody business because they ain't got nothing to do.
I mean, that is a very good point. Because please explain it to me like I'm a 2 year old because
Exactly.
I don't understand how that works. But you know, maybe we ain't supposed to understand because that is beyond me at this point. I'm just forming opinions based off of what we see, and unfortunately, not seeing too much of anything. Um, so yeah,
So what Brandon said, you can't win no matter what. And Millie says she wants the relationship with Greg on her terms and she wants to lead with him. Those were two early on things I was like, oh, okay. Brandon, they know, you're both winners, but if you have a steady relationship, but he's like, no, you can't win no matter what. It's like this ain't a tussling match. It ain't a matter of winning, it's just being heard. But I understand what he's saying. And Millie wants to lead with him. Mm, what's gonna happen when you want to lead and he want to lead in the same thing? What's gonna happen? Y'all gonna be tussling?
um, maybe.
I,
I mean, hopefully, it's not going to be as volatile as Alexis and Dom and Sienna and Brandon, but maybe. I mean, who knows?
Yeah, I don't see him as volatile at all, but it's like, if you don't get your get the direction which you want to go, what does that look like for both Greg and Millie?
Mm,
So,
mm. Yeah, I guess. I mean, I didn't really have much to say other than the fact that I like that she kind of expressed the fact that the kids didn't feel right at the time, and he seemed to understand. I mean,
hmm
I don't know if that was just him pandering or what. I mean, he seems okay, but you know me. I said before that I'm getting weird vibes from him, like he's a undercover agent. So I am keeping my eye on him for the moment.
undercover F boy.
Yes, I didn't want to say it again, so thank you for saying it for me.
Hey, it if he is okay, benefit of the doubt, being in like Sean says, his empathetic space. If this is really what he wants, totally, I can see the path he's taken. But if he pandering and playing for the camera, I'm saying he playing a good game. Cause bringing mama. That's the queen on your chessboard till you get a new queen. But if he playing, mama was a good card to play.
Mm.
But anyway, so Diamond goes to San Sandia.
See, because I think you kind of missed it with Kojo's live earlier because I think he came after
Yes, I did.
this. But here goes Diamond putting herself. I mean, I understand she thinks that Chris is being all kinds of wrong, and he is obviously. I just the way she's kind of it's just the way she's kind of going about it. It's just
So my question for that would be, how can she go about it? That would be more appeasing.
someone in the chat said in his chat, Kojo's chat said that just pull him to the side because if you feel like if you feel like he's still doing something egregiously wrong, just talk to him privately. I mean, he may feel ambushed and he's allowed to feel that way if he does, but you can't you can't just pop off and then expect everyone to want to be involved in that because we see that later on obviously and it's just um I just
Backfires.
yeah, I just don't
See, Chris is one. Chris is a favorite player of mine. Chris is one that you've got to bring it to the forefront and in front of everybody because he's like he likes an audience, but you got to play it well. And she didn't play it well. She
no.
knows Sandia. I understand what Diamond is saying. Sandia is coming around, and Diamond says she's saying how uncomfortable she feels, but Chris is not listening. Chris is not hearing her. So it's like, and she's not being very vocal about what is making her feel uncomfortable. So I understand what Diamond is like. Okay, if you need backup, we all seeing it. How are you feeling? How is this making you feel as a checkup? And she's like, I don't like it, blah blah blah. So it's like, okay, if you need me to back you up, I'm gonna back you up. But Sandia too, I saw some behaviors from her. I was like, oh, it rubbed me the wrong way. So I as a
We'll get to that because I have some smoke for her too. Because I'm like, please stop. You're giving me secondhand embarrassment, girl. Stop it. Like, you kind of want to go like to her because like, come on now. At this point, please stand up for yourself. But we'll get to that. We'll get to that.
stand up. I mm, I'm a save my. I got some smoke for her. I got some smoke for her because it's not only standing up for yourself. I think Sandia is a very calculating player, very calculating. And I think because Chris is so loud,
Mm-hmm.
we don't see her, even though she is like the kitchen scene in plain sight.
Mm-hmm.
I think we are missing her play. She's playing, and I think we're missing it because we're focused on him. So
Okay.
I got some smoke about her playing because she playing in my face.
And okay, so Diamond and Millie, kind of corner her a little bit and try to talk to her about Chris and Joanna, and she's like, "Well, I don't like it, and I will talk to him privately." And we segue into that, and you see her, talking to him while they're eating, and oof, to
You're
say that
over exaggerating.
I, I just, I don't know, because I mean, maybe he's feeling he's feeling cornered, starting to feel cornered because everyone keeps bringing it up, and they're not only bringing it up privately, but they're bringing it up publicly, and more so probably publicly than anything. But yeah, and then he's like, Joanna, like screaming all in the house. I'm like, yo, come on, can you not do that? Can you not scream right in my freaking ear? Like, I hate that. I hate when people just do that. Like, I have a lot of sensory overload. So when people start just screaming in my ear like that, like right next to me, like please get your behind up, go find her and bring her down there. Don't just be screaming in my ear just to bring it. Just please, it ain't that hard. I'm sorry, my little rant of the day, or one of my rants anyway. If I have more, but yeah, I cannot stand when people do that. But he brings her over and um Cynthia I think she kind of says without really saying it that she's uncomfortable with it, but they end up dismissing her. And I'm glad Tarana kind of said something later on about this because Chris was kind of on one. He was, as much as I know he's the bigger aggressor, and we're seeing he's the bigger aggressor, he still kind of got on my nerves a lot. So I'm like, it's kind of hard not to focus on him a little bit too much, but I'll try to focus on her a little bit too. But yeah, what did you think?
She playing okay, so he said they over exaggerating, they're putting stuff in her head. I think it could be, I don't agree with his wording, and I don't care if anybody say I have a cape on for Chris. I do think they are amplifying it for her. So it may be happening and she may be uncomfortable with it, but for everybody to see you and think you're being played the fool, it brings a whole other level to stuff, when you take stuff in. So it's like, okay, am I feeling some kind of way? Am I tripping? Rather than these ladies who will say, "Oh, we seen it and we uncomfortable," and da 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 da, then it brings about embarrassment. So that totally amplifies how you're feeling about Chris's behavior. So I understand where he's saying they're putting it in your head, but they're not putting it in her head. I think they're just amplifying what she's already feeling. When he called Jody though over, I was happy to see that Aaron J came too.
Hmm.
Aaron J came too, and he called Jody, Jody, Jody. So there's a lot of things with Jody and Aaron J we're not seeing and we're not privy to, that these people are just chilling, whether it's as friends or whatever, but we don't see them much. But he's saying, Chris is saying, is jealousy. Um, are we kids? He starts putting the other people down. If Chris is really doing this, this is a way of covering it up. It's a way of covering it up by focusing your attention on other people's behavior rather than his behavior.
Hmm.
So that's where I can see the whole Chris thing. Now, Jody playing her position, crowding in on Sandia and comforting her. I mean, that would be real dirty if she really, feeling Chris like that. That would be real dirty. But I like the fact that they all were there, the four of them, because Chris is like, hey, this is what's being told. Let's all four of us, it affects us. Let's all talk about it. How do we feel? How do we discuss? So we'll talk about Sandia and her valid feelings later, but I like the setting of the two couples. It seems like it also could be a setup and make Sandia feel some kind of way because now the three of them are saying it ain't nothing. Aaron J is like, it ain't nothing. Chris and Jody is saying, it ain't nothing. We just cool. We just chilling. And now I wonder if Sandia is feeling, well, wait a minute, am I just bugging? But I think she's playing my face though. But we'll get to that later. I think she's pulling a Jedi mind trick on me.
I mean, you do have a point. I think on some level it does bug her, but I can see how everyone else chiming in can blow it up for her. Because it may not be as troublesome for her, even though it might be a little bit. Because we did see that she obviously was bothered by him saying to the whole group. I thought it was just to the guys, but apparently it was just to the whole group that he has girls, he gets girls all the time, and he flirts with all of them and stuff like that. So that bothered her enough to the point that she brought it up on her own, or seemed to bring it up on her own. But with this, she didn't really bring it up on her own, so maybe it doesn't bug her as much as it like the other part did.
Right.
But I mean, I don't know. Well, I mean,
we'll see more of it later. I got more to say, but I'll save it for later when we got the whole gang together.
mm-hmm. So Taronda does a check-in with Millie and Greg. I didn't really have much to say on them, so if you have any thoughts on it, I'll let you go ahead and speak your speech.
Greg said he don't want a weak partner. That hit me hard. He don't want a weak woman. Does Greg understands what it takes to create that strong alpha woman he talking about? Because we found out more later.
Right.
Does he know what it takes? We want that strong woman. That strong woman has been tested, has been tried, has been weathered through some storms. Greg, you better be ready. Greg better be ready. She says she trusts him. Millie says she trusts him, and that she has to reveal her past. I do understand why she would hold that back, and sometimes it is also the reveal, how you reveal it to someone. But I think since I understand now why Millie would not have wanted to meet Greg right away if she wanted something serious. So I'm giving her a pass.
Yep,
On
I just said pretty much the same thing, and especially what we learn about later.
yes,
He
yeah, I give her a pass as to why she needs all this time to build trust. But let me say this: we're allowing Millie the time to build trust. Why are we not allowing Chris the time to build trust?
I think it's purely because of how he's showing up and how he's just being
But
rather.
how he's showing up obnoxious shows that he's been through the ringer. His trauma and hurt is just spilling out.
And that's one thing, but when it comes off publicly, like it looks like publicly embarrassing the girl you're kind of seeing, even if you don't want to call it exclusively dating, then that's when it's a problem. With Millie, she's not doing all this. Oh, I get men, and I smash them on the first date, and it take like
But are we saying the same thing about Jody?
Well, she's a problem. She's obviously because she co-signed it. I mean, when
Right.
we're
So we're not saying right. We're not saying Chris's you know bombastic behavior is a mask. It's a complete shield. Just like Millie not being in Greg's presence, not being around him or meeting him for 3 years and only being online, that's her protection and shield. Chris's barrier is just in your face. Chris's barrier pushes you away. Millie's barrier just keeps you away.
Mm, I'll still stand on how
Understood.
it's
Understood.
the way he's doing it. It's just it's too publicly embarrassing, and he refuses to see it. And he's allowed to have his trauma and all that, and how he like how it impacted him. I just you can't be moving mad because you were hurt. You can't be doing it. I
But
mean,
I'm a hurt you before you hurt me.
that's exactly what he's doing. Yep, that's exactly
Exactly.
what he's doing.
Yeah. So Millie gets her sister, her older sister, and Greg gets his mom to come visit.
What was her sister named Sophie or Sophia? Because I kept hearing
Sophia.
Sophia. Okay, I kept hearing
Yeah.
Sophie in some parts. So I was like, was it Sophie or Sophia? Um. Anyways,
But we before they actually get here, the men had a conversation. Chris gathered the men in the room to talk about him and Jody and the perception. Only 2 men agreed with the women.
I know Aaron H was one of them. Who was the other one?
Greg did say it's odd. He says if your girl checks you, then you need to take your foot off the gas. That's what he said. If your girl checks you, you gotta take your foot off the gas. So those are the only 2 men who agreed. Chris says that is insecure and controlling, and Aaron J didn't have a problem with it, and neither did
Well, Aaron J is just the simp that LeBron was saying that he was being presented as. So at least in my eyes, he's looking more like the simp than LeBron ever was. Like involuntarily. I mean, I don't know. I don't even know what like if that is the right term. I mean, I don't know, but I don't even know why Aaron J is even talking. But I mean,
because he's not uncomfortable with it. I understand where Aaron J is coming from. I understand that it's not, I wouldn't, but you certainly can form that opinion. I don't think Aaron J is as simpish as people believe because I was growing up around a whole bunch of guys, and we grew up together. And if we gather around, these are people I've known since single digit age. Even my cousins, even my male cousins or whatever. And there's a certain familiarity that we would have. And this is before you got a boyfriend, before you got a husband. And yes, you are still going to be particular about how you move with that person. But even if you don't touch the person, even if you're like just talking like, yeah, I see you, you my road dog, you my this, you my that, it can come off as y'all are closer than for real. I understand that Chris, she just met him. It's only been a week, 72 hours, how much Greg the timekeeper is saying. But I have met people that immediately, man or woman, immediately we just click. We just click. And you would swear we've been best of friends since Pampers. And we
right.
probably just met that night.
Uh-huh.
So I can understand how it could rub her wrong because she's new to Chris. But now here comes this other girl who's new to Chris, but their personalities just click. And I think their personalities just click. They have the same mental philosophy, but a lot of people who got the same mental philosophy, they don't be the ones getting together. When they're too similar, they don't be getting together. if they ever get together, it's a hit and run, but they ain't staying together. But I
Mm-hmm.
don't see them as hitting it off to get close.
I'm not sure if I totally agree with that, but
Okay.
because I feel I don't know. On the one hand, I kind of get it, but then on the other hand, I feel like with Chris, because he was saying, I get girls, I get girls, I get girls, and we smash on the first night. I feel like if he isn't careful, it will lead down a road that he cannot walk back from. So, and honestly, I don't believe he's in a space right now, especially with what we saw with how the talk with him, Cyndia, and Taronda went. He is in the space to want to change or work on why he's so hurt. So, and I think this is why I guess I'm more hard on him is because it's clear that he doesn't want to work on it. And Cindy is the same way. I'm not saying it's just that she needs to work. It's way she's presenting herself is just different, obviously. So, and I'll kind of go a little bit more on that later when we get to that talk between the three. But I just, I guess it's just maybe it's not just the fact he's so loud and all that. It's just maybe it is. I don't know. It's just something about him is just really kind of irking me. Else, I don't know if it's just that, but I mean, something about him is just, and maybe I can find the right word for it. And
He's loud and his word choice. He uses certain words to rub people the wrong way. Chris
okay,
does stuff to get a reaction.
okay, there you go.
He does
That
stuff.
is probably the
He
problem.
wants you to react. And if you're reacting to how loud he is, then you miss the words. And if
Mhm.
you're reacting to the words, you missing his, subtle behavior, body language traits. You see, yes, Chris has his own issues, traumas, and whatever, but I see Chris and I see what he's doing, and all that he's doing is to take focus off of him. No, it's those people over there that's the problem. Jody and I ain't a problem. Look at Aaron J. He ain't got a problem with it. Jody, you got a problem with it. So it can't be me.
Well, and
He
maybe that's why I want to keep my foot on the step because he's trying to every which way to take the spotlight off of him because it's like we're not just gonna bypass what you're doing. Like you may not have ill intentions for how you're interacting with Joanna, but it's still a fucking problem. So we can't just do that and then because like Sandia might not be as upset about it as we all think she is because she, as we said, people, other outside forces might be influencing her more than she is upset about it. But we're not just gonna bypass. Hey Jay, we're not just gonna bypass him just because he wants the spotlight off of him. So I think that's partly why I'm keeping my foot on his neck.
okay. I'm later on. I'm putting my foot on Sandia's neck.
Okay. Yeah.
We gonna tussle. We gonna tussle.
Because I mean I think what I guess I've been trying to get is that when people are obviously trying to deflect, it kind of gets on my nerves. So I mean maybe it gets on other people's nerves too, but I mean we're not gonna bypass anything here.
Right.
Not,
He's
not
deflecting. but so is Sandia. But we'll get there.
So what was okay? So
Next, Brandon and
Sienna.
Sienna sit down with the hostess. Mm. And
Was she channeling Kojo? Because she was kind of channeling Kojo. At least it seemed like to me she was kind of channeling him a little bit because she she's asking them how's everything, and I remember writing down that Sienna thinks they have a good platonic relationship.
and she said she can let things go. That to me baffled me. How you can let things go?
Girl, like, are we watching the same show? Are you listening to yourself?
Sure, you can let go the roses as they sail across the room.
Exactly. You know what I mean?
You were carrying on upstairs, and you came down and threw roses at the man. I will say, under protest, I wish she was not here.
I,
Sorry.
no, because I mean, at this point, I was like, what? I mean, especially when we find out Brandon says at the end of the conversation, he doesn't see there's no possible romantic future with Sienna, at least in the short term. I'm like, then why are you here? Why are you here? Like, go. This is where I feel like Taronda kind of fell short, was because, well, if you're hearing that, then what point is it to stay there if they're not gonna work on the romantic part of the relationship? That's the whole point. That's the whole reason why you're there, isn't it? I mean, or am I just stupid?
Yes, they did say they want relationships, these people. But again, you need to define that as romantic or friendship. So maybe at the end of this show, they're like, we're just going, the relationship we will have is friendship. We will not have a romantic relationship. Just like when I used to say with Ready to Love. Ready to Love can mean different things. Does it mean we're continuing to date outside of this? Are we continuing to date exclusive? Are we boyfriend girlfriend at the end? You got to define it. Ready to Love can mean all kind. Love have different levels. So
Mm.
I understand what he's like, the romantic side. I cannot see anyone, but people do it. I can't see anyone just being able to let it go when they're talked to so disgracefully on multiple occasions.
And I don't disagree with that. But what I will say though is that this isn't Ready to Love where you're sort of get coming together with another person to try to figure it out. Like from like maybe even like a acquaintance level to a see if it's a romantic or friendship connection. They're supposedly already in a romantic relationship. That's the problem. It's like we're we're given the idea that they're in a romantic relationship, and excluding Chris and Sandia, because Chris is on one with that, but with everyone else, they're saying that they've been in this romantic relationship for the last a few months or years or whatever, or however long, and they're trying to build their physical connection together.
Mm-hmm.
So that to me is just where I'm getting the disconnect.
They've romanticized each other. Everybody has. They've romanticized. They've romanticized the relationship and each other. And the long distance, you can create any kind of personality in your head. You can create anything once you're not there with the person, you fill in the blanks. And I think that's what happened with each of them. She probably sees, oh, he's so easygoing, he won't be combative. He sees her as a little spicy, meaning she's up for challenge and adventure. But, and I said it when the episode happened, Once she called him that word, that was the end. I don't know any man that can come back from that. I'm sorry.
I,
I don't know any.
I don't blame a guy for not being able to come back from that. I don't think I would be able to come from that either. I just don't understand, like, if the whole point is to build your physical connection with your romantic partner, why are you still there? That's what I don't get. That's just, I don't understand it. What's the point? I mean, it seems counterintuitive or counterproductive or what, I don't know what the word is, like counter something. It's
I would say it will help the person for the next relationship because I think she needs to learn this. I think she needs to learn how to navigate the dating world. I think she needs to learn, how to see the man as not coming for her. That's what the host said. He's not trying to get you. I know you're hard and all that, and you got all that fire. But
hmm
again, if the fire will burn everything. And I have to say that, I had the Brooklyn girls attitude. I had it. You ready, you on something. You never know where a threat is going to come from. You never know if your significant other, is going to be good or treat you well. Again, she also got a shell and a barrier, but she kind of bombastic like Chris. She is just coming at him. Anything he says to try and get her to change or course correct or understand where he's coming from, it's like, girl, you're not perfect. There are deficiencies.
not at
You
all.
have to learn and do something different. But if he says, hey, I really don't like the way you speak to me, well, that's a daggone lie. Da, 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 da. It's like, that's it right there.
And honestly, like I said about Chris, I don't get the feeling that she's in the space to want to look at herself for a little bit and see, like, maybe why she's getting the results that she's getting.
Right.
So, and that's a part of why I think they should go home.
Yes.
So,
She
uh,
said she's willing to fight for the relationship, but she just willing to fight. She just want to
yeah,
fight.
all she's gonna do is throw things. Like, I mean, she's like 2 seconds away from putting hands on him. Like, I, girl, please stop.
Yelling, screaming, calling me a name, throwing something at me. I mean, who wants to live like that?
Not me. I know that much.
She's willing to fight for a relationship. No, you willing to fight. Oh, Lordy.
I mean, in Taronda did bring up to him, she, because she's so hard, she's intermasculine, she doesn't know how to get out of it, and I like that she brought that up to him because I don't
Yes.
know if he understood that part, or realized that part. I think he just realized she's pretty
Hard
vulnerable.
not to crack.
Yeah, and it's just, so I'm glad she did bring that up to him, but yeah, I don't. I'm gonna stand 10 toes down on they should just have left. Especially
Yeah.
after he said, I don't see a possible romantic connection in the near future. So
You-
I
You're
just,
being nice. I think she should have been removed
well,
and him by default.
well, yeah, I think so too. I think that that's what needed to happen. Is just, I knew they weren't gonna do it. Unfortunately, I just knew they weren't gonna do it because, like, I just don't. I mean, unless she's, you know, either him or her are slapping each other upside the head, like physically, like, Dom and Alexis seem to be getting towards, if it wasn't already there in the first episode, then they weren't going to remove her, unfortunately, and here we are. So
So Owen is saying if you throw something at the person and you don't put your actual hand on them, it's okay. Okay.
that's what it seems like to me, but
Okay.
maybe I'm wrong and they just out here
Because
creating love during lockup or
because
something. I don't know.
because what I don't want to think of Owen is that it's bad domestically if the man is overpowering the woman, which is Dom and Alexis, but we okay with it because the man is on the receiving end of the attack. I don't want to think that I own, but this is what it's presenting.
Unfortunately, that is what it looks like. Unfortunately, and I just
Even if you want to fight with someone and fight with your words, and you will have disagreement with your partner, the thing is, you gotta have rules of engagement. You've got to have a certain level that you're not going to go. And you know how you determine that level? How you want them to treat you in an argument. If you don't want them to call you out your name, you don't call them out your name, out their name. If you don't want them getting loud, then you don't get loud. Treat people the way you wish to be respectfully treated. But I can't. Owen is not a good track record. Not a good track record with this show and others. Again, I protest her even being here. I protest they even sat down with the hostess. It should have been a talk with the group saying, "Oh, they're no longer here. Thank you very much. Go on with the show." But okay, I digress. I can go on and on about that. You can tell I'm passionate about it.
Well,
Hmm.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you for being. We all have something we're passionate about. So this is just one of yours. So I will support you in your passion about getting her off the show because she is long. She is long as the day is long. So
We're about to disagree when I get passionate about Chris and see you later.
I okay. Anyways, so
Okay.
we're going
So
to
Brandon tells the boys that you
um
popped off on him again.
if he did, I completely just bypassed it. So um you know me, if it doesn't interest me enough to write it down, I'm
Oh,
not gonna remember it. So I'm just saying.
I don't know how Brandon never heard the phrase that energy just transfers, it's not created. I don't know how he didn't hear that before, but okay.
The next scene that I saw that I wrote down about was Taronda doing a check-in with Aaron J and Joanna.
Hmm.
Um, and I'm not sure if you saw this with Kojo's live earlier this morning or earlier today, but the reason why I feel like Aaron isn't as okay with it as he makes himself out to be, is that his body language seemed a little weird. Looked a little weird. He looked tense, and he as soon as he started, talking about how he didn't really care about it and how he has a lot of female friends, he started scratching the back of his head. So I'm like, yeah, do you really not care, or are you covering it up? Like Kojo was saying, that's kind of why I'm like, I don't really subscribe to the fact that he doesn't really care about Joanna, because we haven't seen them interact at all except when it comes to other people's drama or them talking about Joanna and Chris's interactions. So they don't really. I don't know. What do you think?
What is there to feel some kind of way about?
Maybe it's just I can understand how it's very disrespectful
What is
towards
it?
the other party. The being when it looks a certain way, like Aaron H brought up, when it looks like you have more chemistry with another person than the person you brought with you.
But then that's subjective.
True.
So what I'm trying to get at is what is there to really be offended about? And hey, you know, tomboy, tomboy right here. I would not be offended by the Chris and Jody situation. If my partner says, "Hey, I don't like how this looks," I will certainly make adjustments. But offended, I'm not invalidating how Sandia feels or how other people saw it, but offended, For me, you need to be cuddled up on the couch with Chris or even sharing a blanket on the same couch for me to really be like, y'all trying to get closer. The only interactions I've ever seen of Chris and Jody and talking and everything is amongst a group.
True.
They're not alone. It's not like she's going to the hot tub with Chris, but not with Aaron J.
That is true.
It's not like it's just like we all together like hey Chris da, 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 da. Fine. And then Chris is everybody's new to everybody. Everybody's new, even not as new to their partner, just physical presence new to their partner. Um so you're making different friends in the house. You ally or whatever. I haven't seen anything, even if it's a laugh and slap on the shoulder or whatever, that would make me feel any kind of way about it. That's why I wanted to ask what it is. What is it that Chris and Jody has done other than they seem to be symbiotic people? They seem to have the same thought process about things and laugh and joke in the same manner. Is it too much? Maybe for some people it's too much. But then again, is it disrespectful? That again is subjective. Sandia, I'm not sure how she feels about it. I think she more hurt that Chris is just dismissing her feelings rather than what he's actually doing. And not saying, okay, Chris and Jody, it could be on the way to doing something improper, but they just haven't done anything improper, in my opinion, right now. It's just what it, as Aaron H said, can be misconstrued. Well, then that's something wrong with your comprehension, because we ain't doing it. And I'm sure if Aaron J came up and say, "Yo, man, you're a little too clingy with my girl," he'll say something. He'll say something. But that's why I was asking. That's why I was pushing back. Is what is it? What it has been done?
And maybe because I was just thinking, maybe where I am seeing is that it could, because they have such good chemistry together and it can go back and forth. And I'm not saying it will do this, but I can see how it could get to this point where maybe something happens. I'm not saying it will, and I'm saying that they have done anything. I'm just saying it could get to that point if they're not careful. And like I said, it doesn't seem like not neither, but it doesn't seem like on Chris's end he was ready to rein himself in and not go over the line. And whether Joanna will do that or not, I don't know. I don't see maybe that she will. I can see him going over the line. Whether she puts up a wall and says, don't do this, that is something that we either will see or hear about, or maybe not. I don't know. But I know that what I see from Chris, it doesn't look like he will have much self-control. And that, I guess, is my point of view on it, is that I don't have much faith in him that he will control himself to not step an obvious physical boundary with any woman, especially with someone who he has such a good back and forth with and chemistry with, like he has with Joanna, unfortunately.
But I wonder if that thought about Chris is only because he's so vocal and saying I get girls. Because I haven't seen Chris cross any boundaries with anybody else. I haven't seen Chris act in a way that would tell me he would be disrespectful to a woman.
So what's that saying? When someone tells you who they are, believe them?
Yeah, he gets girls. So my thing would be, he already says, and Sandia agreed, that they're not exclusive. They're dating, but they're not exclusive. So if he gets girls, how is that wrong? If he's getting these girls, they're consenting, we're hanging out, how is that wrong? He's obnoxious, but is it wrong?
He is if he's doing what he does when he and Sandia and Tehran are all together, and he dismisses our feelings. You can be non-exclusive all you want, but if someone tells you something that is bothering them, and you blatantly freaking dismiss them like that on camera, then yeah, it's a problem.
Okay. I got something for that when we get to there.
So uh, it's a laugh for me. It's a laugh.
Aaron J said it ain't out of the ordinary how he acts with his female friends.
Well, he's weird too for that. So
That's his perspective. And hey, but they did say that he said after more dates they were a little bit closer. I just don't like how production is not letting us see more dates between Jody and Aaron J.
I don't understand why I don't see it that for anybody. But
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
um. So the next scene that I saw was Millie's sister Sophia coming.
Oh yes.
So did I miss some before that?
No, no, no. I said, oh yes, Millie's sister. I like the sister.
What I loved about the sister is that she didn't just talk to Millie. She actually said, "I want to talk to Greg too."
Right.
So I really like that because none of Sienna's friend and Brandon's friend didn't want to do that. So
Right.
I really like that.
And
So
she got rid of Millie. She's like, you gonna sit here?
I was like, she's like, "Bye, get up out of here. I need to talk to him alone." Like,
Yeah. Cause you gonna murky the waters. He gonna still be acting a certain way because you here. I need to get to nitty gritty. I need you gone. I'll tell you later.
I
Need you
mean,
gone. And the sister went right in.
right?
What do you like about Millie?
Uh-huh.
The sister been reading them self help books and watching some videos. It's like, what do you like about Millie? She ain't a pushover. She's strong. She got a work ethic. It's like, Greg, are you hiring a colleague or are you looking for a girl? So that's all I said. Again, do not forget how a sword is forged. It is a lot of heat and a lot of strikes of the iron. I mean, you want strong. Strong goes through a whole lot. Just her strong looks different than Sienna strong. But yeah, she's not a pushover. And he asked a good question. He said, what can I do to gain full access to your sister? And she told him, show her you're listening. They had a very productive conversation.
They did, and
Very productive. I was proud of Greg. I was proud of Greg. Other than being a timekeeper.
at least he's doing something. Like at least he's the only one letting us know how much time it has. You would think it was still like the next day or something, but
At least you forgave him for cruising through the caution sign about that kiss. At least she forgave him. And she let it go.
right.
And the sister say, hey, you're both on the same page, this should be good.
Well, maybe because damn, I forgot my train of thought for that. Never mind. I may come back to that, but I kind of lost my train of thought for that.
Sorry.
No,
Mama then walked in.
um, but we did find out something about Millie. So trigger warning. I'm not gonna say the actual what happened to her, but she was sexually assaulted.
Yeah, she was R word.
And I mean, I hope she wasn't forced to say that, but if she wasn't, I'm glad she let us know another like what showed her background a little bit. Like it showed us a little bit about more about her. Um, and did she say that she was adopted? Because I thought I heard her say she was adopted. Or was I? Did I hear wrong?
I didn't hear that, but it could be, but I don't know. I didn't hear her say anything other than that's my sister. She's just 2 years older, but it
Okay,
could be. I don't know.
maybe I'm just tripping. Okay, never mind.
Oh,
Moving on.
you could be right. Yeah.
But I mean, it seems like she's doing okay after her sexual assault. So I'm glad she's at least she seems guarded, but it's not like she has these like high walls up after it. Maybe that's just me hoping too much and maybe looking too much into it. But I don't. I mean, she seems like she's vetting properly, in my opinion. She seems to be vetting pretty well as far as Greg goes.
Well, the thing is that, she did tell the sister they're constantly leaving me. Are they really not willing to commit, or are they not willing to commit to me? Like after she lets them know her trauma is what it seems like that the men run.
Okay, that's a good
And
point.
so she has abandonment issues. So it's like that's why she also wouldn't tell Greg anything for 3 years because she's afraid he would run.
Hmm.
But then it could be the delivery. If I was Millie, I would not tell him that unless either we're with a professional or
Mm,
I have learned from a professional. We've gone to a session and the professional kind of knows both of us, and
mm.
then they can help guide me in a way to tell him that he's receptive.
Okay, that I can see that. Yeah.
Because it's like how you tell someone and how
That's
because you also got to tell them how can they support you because they're kind of like
They may not
their
have
hairline is blown back.
yeah, they may not know someone who actually has gone through that. So that could be, yeah, that's true.
He don't know, and then some, not a lot, but some may now pull back and think that anything they do, they may be re-traumatizing you.
True.
So it's all, you need professional assistance. Everybody would need a professional assistance in that regard. But it's doable. He's receptive, she's receptive. But Greg, I'm gonna need to see Mama as a strong woman because Mama seems very much, a gentle. She seems like a gentle giant. Like she's maybe small of stature, but she's a very very prominent woman. She had a presence about her. It's like she controlled all them children. She had she had them in check. Because Greg, she said, had 5 siblings.
Oh, really? I missed that part. Like, I understand the big family part though because I'm one of 7. So I mean, yeah.
Oh yeah, because when she said that maybe you'll come out to Arizona and meet his 5 siblings. That's what Mama said at the end.
Mm,
But it's been 6 years since Mama ever met a woman.
that's a long
But
time.
you took a woman from LA all the way to Arizona to meet your family.
That's a long time.
Okay,
Has he been like even casually dating and just
that's what
not?
he said. He been running the streets.
He's okay.
Greg been in these streets.
And none of them's like serious enough. Like 6 months or more that you were serious, or like really. This is why I say he's an undercover f boy.
Yeah, he could be. He could be because he's been dating around and ain't nobody want anything serious. So why would I want to make a woman serious and the ones I'm encountering don't want anything serious? But here's my question, and this is truly a question. Why do people wait till the last minute to introduce the parents? Because for me, you don't have to do it right away. And it don't have to mean as much as people say, like, oh, if you meet your mama, then an engagement is soon, or that's the pinnacle. Sometimes you need your parents' insight on a person. Because sometimes you don't see something and an elder can see it. And your parent, who may know you personally, if your parent, has good intentions for you and can pull things out, your parent can see and say, you know how you like to like, Sienna, you know how you like to pop off? That man ain't gonna take that. I never understood that you got all the way here and then have to meet the parents when the if you not too early, but if you meet the parents after a period of time, it's like if you got to cut and run, it ain't that too much time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to be introducing them like in week three, but if it's been like 3 months and you still haven't met the person's family, then yeah, I find it that's weird.
Well, family, siblings, all that stuff. But I'm saying the parents. It's like, why is mom? To me, how it sounds, and this is again my Caribbean roots and stuff, is like you should have been meeting mom or encountering her before. Why are you meeting mom at the finish line? Why is mom or dad the last person to meet them? That to me seems kind of odd, but that's just me.
Mm, I would say he doesn't have a good relationship with his parents, but he obviously looks like he has a good relationship with his, at least with his mom. I
Hmm.
don't know about his daddy because we didn't hear anything much about his daddy because all we heard was that they were divorced. So, and uh, I get the feeling that the mom meeting the mom is extremely important to him, and if he doesn't feel it for meeting introducing them to, like his girlfriend or whoever to his mom is worth it, then then it's not gonna be it, and that's the
It's
and
been
maybe
3 years.
but I mean, but I do get your point. Like you can't meet the parents. I mean, after 3 months, you would think that they would be serious enough to want to meet the parents.
And it could be in passing. It ain't got to be meet the parents, go over for dinner, and we
Mhm.
meet the whole family. It could be mama and daddy in passing. We could go on a coffee date with mama and daddy. You know what I'm saying? It could be in passing. It does not have to be a sit down official meet the parents. But I'm
Maybe
like,
maybe in his mind it feels like it's gonna if it's serious enough to meet your parents, then we have to do this sit down dinner. I mean, and maybe he just needs to change his perspective and think, like you just said, it doesn't have to be that deep
yeah,
to
yeah.
do this whole 5 course meal or whatever. But yeah,
Just
I don't.
like they did that night. You just met, and say hey and talk, and that's it. Don't have to be formal. That meet my parents, or the parents don't think that they're meeting this person and this is going to be, your next wife. I mean, I like to get a perspective. My grandfather, he was a good whippersnapper. He would sit down and don't say much, but he watching. And then after the date would leave, would be like, "Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da." It's like, okay, I ain't gonna waste my time. And funny enough, it would be, I'm protecting him. Cause you eat that boy alive.
Hmm.
But again, for me, elders, they have an insight, and mamas have an insight those who, wish to share and divulge that stuff for you, you know, those where you have a good relationship, where they understand, they would listen, they know the assignment. Not everybody has a positive relationship with their parent, but for me, it's kind of like, also for me as a girl with safety, it's like, this is who I'm dating. If I turn up missing, this is who it is. You see people all the time, unfortunately, when tragedy strikes, they're like, I don't know who they were dating. I didn't think they were dating anybody. It's because the parents are like the last to know.
Right. See, too much of that on like ID channel and stuff like that. So on Dateline, and it's a whole.
Right. No, I gotta tell my my son who's in his 20s, I need to know your known associates. Who are your known associates?
Does
Like,
he push
oh,
back
okay.
much on that, or what?
He
That's
used to in high school, but now he understands. Now he understands. He's in criminal justice. He's a criminal justice major. So now he understands. He's like, okay, mom, I get it. I thought you just being nosy. And I'm like, I was, but I need to know who, I always used to tell my children, if you come up missing, who's the friend that would know where you are? If you ain't answering my phone call and I can't find you on the locator device, who do I call next that's able to reach you? That's it. But yeah, I just don't understand parents being the last to know. It ain't got to be formal. It ain't got to be a rotation of people. But if you even thinking about getting serious with that person, a parent could break it down for you real quick. Just like Kojo was saying on his channel when he brought this girl over and his dad had said, It's like, what do you mean? Uh-uh.
no.
So, right. And his dad told him exactly why. So it would be your parents are very insightful. Use them. Use them. Not when you're close to the finish line. But his mom did say something. He was looking for a woman to bring everything. He was looking for a woman to bring everything. Is that why you want an alpha woman? Because she gonna go out there and hunt the meat and bring it home too? Was Greg looking for 50-50 relationships? What?
Hey, I didn't think of that, but you know what? You could well, you could very well. Oh,
Was Greg looking for, a sugar mama? Cause his mama said he was looking for the girl to bring everything. Okay, mama. He said he wasn't ready. Okay. Okay. Mama told all Greg's business. But it's like, how long did they get to stay at the house? It seems like Mama and Sophia wasn't there for probably what, 4 or 5 hours to get just those 30 minutes? I don't know.
okay, so I have a question.
Hmm.
Have Shay and Josh moved into the boom boom room?
No, because I don't think so. Because in the end, I see them bringing in luggage. So I'm thinking you vacate the boom boom room and then you bring what you need for the night. So
Because it seems like because we saw them, we saw that they or heard that they were in there for like the first 2 nights, I think. Or that's what maybe I read into that or something. Like
hmm
and
yeah,
then we see them going to the boom boom room again this episode.
I
So
think I think Josh and Aaron H had a little talk. Josh was all about them feet that next boom boom room visit.
I know, like, please, I was like, I was so scared. I was so scared. And then we're gonna get another scene of the second of the. I was so scared. I was like, I got tense. I was, please do not go there again because I was traumatized. I was like,
I was waiting for it. I said, "Oh, Josh!" And when he picked her foot up, I was like, "Oh no, Josh!"
please. I was like, I will willfully blind myself if they do this again. I'm not. I just couldn't. I can't do it again. I can't do it again. Not
Mm.
so thankfully they didn't, or if they did, they didn't show it. So, but yeah. Anyway,
But he did tell us that if you watch YouTube, you can learn how to do foot massages. So another point for YouTube University.
not YouTube University.
Yes, a YouTube University. You know how much I learned at YouTube University? Mm.
I use YouTube mainly for watching Kojo's lives and listening to music and catching up on my horror.
Girl, if you ever need to know how to change a faucet, we have fixed our washer and dryer based on what people do. We have fixed my car based on videos other people have posted. We have fixed our garage door. Girl, there is so much to YouTube. So much.
That's what I go to Yahoo or Google for.
Yeah, but sometimes I need, and hubby needs the visual of seeing somebody do it to make sure that you ain't breaking a piece or whatever. We've done it, but we've broken items before, even though watching that. But yeah, YouTube tells you a lot. You can find the make and model of your car, and like somebody like has done X, Y, and Z, and you'll find it. Love it. So, so you mean at this grown age, Greg usually doesn't make the bed? Is that why his mama was so happy?
I don't know. I don't know. I hold on the fort for a second. I'll be right back.
Okay. So when Greg took Mama to the room, we saw there was an unmade bed and a made bed. Mama was just so happy to see that Greg had made his bed. Greg, why your mama happy? Is it that you at this grown age of 30 something you weren't making your bed? When you go visit mama and the siblings, you weren't making a bed? But Millie was very nice. Millie said, told the mom she raised a good guy. He was really nice and sweet. And, Greg asked for a group hug, him, Mama, and Millie. And Mama gave her stamp of approval. Mama said, come to Arizona, meet the family, meet his 5 other siblings. Mama said, she ready for the wedding. She ready to make this official. I liked Greg's mama. Greg's mama was like, I've been waiting for this all my life. Greg's mama was like, I've been waiting for this. Do not go away, young lady. I want to make sure you are here to stay. I'm making sure you are here to stay. Because we've been waiting for Greg to settle down. Because your mama been worried that Greg been cutting up in these streets in LA. Cutting up in these clubs. 6 years since you met somebody. Woo. Mama was like, please come to Arizona and meet the family. Let's get this all done. And then we go to Chris and Sandia sitting down with the hostess.
Mm.
Let's get into it. Let's get into it. Let's get into it.
I should put you behind the scene and just let you ramble and not let anybody hear a word you say. I should do that, but you know what? Start off.
I'll rub you the wrong way. So Sandia brings up the Jody issue. And Chris brings up that she has mood changes because of girls. She says he makes her feel like she can't talk. And he said not all of her feelings are valid. And the host is like, wait a minute. They're valid, but maybe they're not true. I didn't like that because that's your true feeling. So it's valid and true. Maybe the insinuation isn't true, or the reason, the catalyst for the feeling is not true. But anyway, that's my personal issue. He said he won't keep talking about the subject Once he say no once, that's it, and then he gonna ignore you. And she says, Sandia asked that he not make her feel inferior. He said that's her insecurities. He said he has been more considerate and that they are opposite. He does not jump to conclusion. He needs to see consistency. He can see being with her long term. She's kind, caring, and affectionate. Now, Chris, I don't think you see how your consistency with communicating with Jody, how that is affecting your Sandia. So you want to see consistency in her behavior. She's also watching consistency in yours, or lack of. Here's my thing. I'm going to flip it because we always like to flip it. If this was a man telling a woman she's being too, like let's say if it was Aaron J telling Jody, you're being too flirtatious with Chris, blah, blah, blah. I don't like when you do that. I would see him as controlling. And I'm starting to get a little whiff of Sandia using some emotions to try to control Chris's behavior. I'm not absolving Chris. Not at all. Your spouse tells you it's making her uncomfortable, you adjust. You have a conversation saying, hey, this is in your head, this ain't what it is, but you also make adjustments. Don't listen to other people. Listen to me, watch how I'm moving. Because again, what if they get out into the real world and Chris has long-standing friends that this is how he behaves with them? She gonna tell him she don't want him then to be friends with them. I don't want you because I'm not feeling comfortable with you being friends with them. That's controlling. So it's a fine line, but I'm with Sandia. It's like, can I say this and make him stop? And Chris don't want to be controlled. Not at all. Chris is like, you're not going to control me. But I think they need definitively what will be considered. He said he's doing everything. He's more considerate. It needs to translate to her that this is more considerate. This does feel considerate of my feelings. Because I think he's considerate of her feelings, but he's never having sidebar alone conversations with Jody. It's never that. Any conversations with Jody is public and lots of people around. So for me, it's like I can see y'all connecting and laughing, talking, but it ain't nothing private. It ain't sneaking off nowhere. Y'all ain't in the hot tub. It is what it is. But I can see how she could feel some kind of way because she wants that kind of connection with Chris and she does not have it. Mm-hmm. She wants that type of banter with Chris and she does not have it. But what she doesn't see is that kind of banter with Chris or Jody, he'd never go for. At least not long term. Because he sees himself in Jody and ain't no way he want to be with someone like him. Ain't no way. He sees like, oh, she gonna cut me before I can get any words out. He sees that Jody will push back, Jody will talk back, Jody will, be like, I ain't going for that. But Sandia is the opposite. She will sit there, she will talk, she would even not talk and just be quiet. And he wants the quiet piece rather than the kicking up dust that Jody and Sienna would be doing. I'm done with my rant.
let's see. First and foremost, I need him to start doing this moaning and groaning when she simply says something that she does not like. Because when he does stuff like that, makes me feel like what he's actually saying, even though he didn't say this verbatim, but he actually said, I already said no, so let's dead this already. So that's the word, without saying it verbatim, that's what he sounds like he is saying without saying those words exactly. So I need him to stop moaning and groaning and rolling his eyes like he ain't got no sense. So I need him to stop that expeditiously, please, because I don't know. Second, he says that she is the nicest person that or nicest girl he's ever met, but it comes off to me like he seems to want to humiliate her, whether he means to or not. Like he consciously means to or not. Especially when he says stuff, oh, I get girls and I can afford them because I'm not exclusively with Sandia and all this crap, and I need him to just quit that, please. It's highly annoying at this point. It's not cute. I mean, it may not bug women that he deals with on a regular basis because they don't stay too long around him, but for anyone who might stay around him a long time or what would like to stay around him a long time, they won't, because that stuff is not cute. It's not cute at all. And I'm wondering who hurt him to make him act like this, act this way in public, all grandiose and stuff like that. I need to we need to know we need him to do an interview with Kojo, because Kojo gets to the meat and potatoes of it all with people a lot of the time. So we need some sort of interview with Kojo. So Chris, if you're listening to this, go to Little Black Book 91, sign up for an interview. When even if it's not until after the season is over, please do it, because we need to know why. And that's kind of my little spiel on him. Where I'm gonna get on Sandia a little bit is that because I feel like he seems to humiliate her at every turn that he can, whether he means to or not, I need her to stand up. I need her to like see it for what it is and say, stop it, or we're going to have to part ways, because this is not looking good for her by staying with him and continuing to let him humiliate her like it looks like he is doing. It seems like I can't. I mean, I can only have so much sympathy for her when she continues to stay with a guy who continues saying stuff like this in her face. So, I just don't. And like Gojo said on his live earlier, she didn't say yes to speaking to an expert at first. She said maybe down the line, I believe, but no, you need to talk to an expert. You need to talk to one. There's no way around that. You need to talk to one, and quickly. Chris may not think he needs to, but he clearly does, and so do you, Sandia. So we kind of need to beeline it to an expert or something, even if it isn't with him, because this is not cute. You're kind of putting yourself through this as well. You're kind of holding his hand and skipping to the beat of his drum because for whatever reason you're feeling like this is something that you have to endure, and it's not. So I mean, that's where my smoke is for her. So that's where I'm going to end it for now.
I can understand how he could be seen as embarrassing her. And I could also see how he does not think he's embarrassing her. He may think he's just clearing the air, getting everything out, just telling you and making sure it's public information what's going on. So I could understand that, but it is embarrassing her. But I'm wondering what about it is embarrassing her? Because as I said, he's talking to Jody out in public in group settings. What about this is embarrassing for you? So then if he goes to the family cookout and you don't like how he's engaging with somebody there, or even at the company Christmas party or whatever, there is something of an insecurity with her. There's something there that she does not like him, or like maybe any partner, being expressive and being very, you know, open with someone and is considered flirty. Because the few interactions they showed me on OWN, there wasn't any suggestive talking there amongst themselves. Chris brought up a topic. Jody agreed. He's like, yeah. If we dated more alike, we a totally different dating situation. But when he say something else like, yeah, it was not, if I was your girl, if I was your guy, if we had different partners, there was nothing like that. So I think his word choice and Chris does things. I think Chris says and does things, one, for an audience, and two, to get a reaction. And if you're reacting, you're not watching him.
True. And I think it can be looked at because he's doing this publicly. It's embarrassing. Why you need to do all this out in public, and why why I mean I
I'm
get
Chris.
it.
I'm Chris. I need it public. I need it public. I need it public so that nobody's going around carrying news and telling stories. I need it public. I need everybody here at one time. We gonna talk about this, or I need Jody and her partner, and we gonna talk about this, and we ain't gonna be amongst ourselves, and then go tell somebody else, and then it grows. Like you ain't got to hear it from somebody else. You gonna hear it directly from me. I'm like that with Chris. We gonna get all parties involved out here, and we gonna hash this out.
Well, and to kind of push back a little bit, you at least can say it in a way that it's not embarrassing, because it sounds embarrassing the way he does it. It very much, to me, it sounds very embarrassing. So at least you will, I mean, and I understand you wanting to get it out in public. I understand that. I don't know if I would do it, but I can at least respect it that you would want to do it out in public, because at least you can stay calm enough to explain your side of it without having to do what he's doing. And it's just too much. It's just too much. It's too much. And like you said, he's trying to deflect away from him, and that's the problem. It's like he's just that's why it's embarrassing, because he's doing too much to try to deflect from himself.
I think there's a bit of both, but he's not deflecting too much from himself. he is saying, hey, there's no problem with the way that Jody and I are acting to each other. Her partner doesn't have a problem with it. Other people don't have a problem with it. So why are you making this? Why are you making this sound like it's some underlining foolishness? I need to be focused on building a relationship with Sandia, not y'all putting y'all 2 cents in the pot and causing Sandia to look at me funny and causing us not to be able to get closer. But he was, I think Diamond too is oversensitive because when he said when you're weak minded, then you believe other people, she's like, oh, he calling her weak minded. No, he's saying if you are, not that Sandia is.
Mm-hmm.
If you are, you can allow people to influence your relationship. And what Chris is like, and there are two sides to it. Chris is like, don't let anybody don't let people into your relationship. Then the caveat to that is, if you don't let anybody know, then Chris could be running wild out here, got your head spinning, and you don't tell anyone because he said, don't tell nobody. See, it's a lot of things that could be going on. It's all about intentions. Chris is saying, shh, don't talk to nobody. But then if you don't talk to anybody, you won't know if it's odd or not. You won't know. It's like, am I acting crazy? You would talk to your friends. Is it me? Am I tripping? Chris is like, don't talk to nobody. Don't invite them into our relationship.
Mm.
But Chris, you're in a relationship with Sandia, so you have to consider her feelings. You have to make her feel secure, just like you want to feel secure.
Yeah, because if she feels secure, she's gonna show you the consistency that you are asking for, and that's the problem. Because you can both agree that you're not exclusive all you want. That the problem is you're making her feel at least a little bit insecure, whether it's because of how you're interacting with Joanna or because of you what you said in episode 1. It doesn't matter which one it is or which one is greater. You're still making her feel insecure about you in some capacity. And like I said, if you want her to show you the consistency that you're claiming you desperately want, because it sounds like you desperately want it, then you're gonna have to show her the decency and respect that we keep hearing men say that they want.
Mm,
Then you're gonna have to
mm,
show her too. So come on.
mm.
That's just, and maybe I'm the reason why I'm going a little bit harder on him is because respect is a big thing for me too, and so the way he's moving I find very disrespectful personally, and so that might not be my number one, but because honesty is my number one thing for me. That's the biggest thing for me. Like, be honest with me. Don't hide anything, nothing like that. Because if you're dishonest with me, then that to me is disrespect. So that's why respect is my number 2 on my list for how I want a guy to treat me. So I don't know what Sandia's is, but it maybe looking like a fool is
She said if Chris is disrespectful, they would have a problem.
what I mean is like what if for her disrespect is, or I mean if her looking embarrassing and looking like a fool is very disrespectful, because that it might not be disrespect is obviously subjective. So it could be, because for me disrespect is lying to me. So for her, it could be looking like a fool. Unfortunately, I think she's having a part in it a little bit, but I mean, for her, looking like a fool might be the biggest disrespect for her.
So
That's
what
what
has Chris lied about?
what is I what what is Chris lying about? I don't. I mean, did I? I mean, I don't think he's necessarily lying about anything, but um,
Chris has looking at it, the cast of characters. Chris has not called her out her name. Chris has not yelled at her. The one time we said Chris was disrespectful was how he told her to get out of the kitchen when he was talking to the fellas. And I thought that was like, that's indicative of how you're going to treat you and allow other people to treat you. But looking at the cast of characters and all the stuff that they're doing, he didn't call her out her name when he told her to get lost.
and what I think is that the way he talks is making her look foolish, and maybe that is her disrespect, is making her look foolish. On and
Gotcha.
it's like I mean, maybe it wouldn't be so bad if it wasn't public and so public, like on national TV. And maybe that's the problem. That might be her. That might be. I'm not saying it is, but from the way we're seeing it on our screens, that might be why she is feeling some sort of way. Because it
But
might not
you
necessarily be like you said because of how Joanna and Chris are interacting. It's just the way he talks to her and the way he's phrasing things, even when he's not talking to her directly, comes off as embarrassing.
understood, but you could be embarrassing yourself by accusing him of being closer to a woman than he's not.
Ooh, I think you cut out for a second.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, I did?
Yeah, at least on my end, he cut out.
Oh. Oh, the thing is that it could be embarrassing if you're accusing him of being close to that woman and he's not.
Yeah, and I can see that. I can see that. And I think that may now that you put it that way, maybe that's what he was trying to get at is that so I can see that. I just wish he wouldn't phrase the things he says the way he does because that is, and I don't know if that is, you know, disrespectful to her. I mean, necessarily. I mean, it kind of seems like it, but I know for me that would be very disrespectful. The way you're saying stuff is really just out of pocket, and so um,
But at what point do we leave that as just your personality? Because the way Sienna, I would take the way Chris is saying stuff over the way Sienna is saying stuff. But that's just a personal question of mine.
mm,
But Diamond didn't appreciate everybody.
oh, Diamond, here we go.
Diamond said Jody is tugging on Chris,
Mm,
and she didn't appreciate everybody being quiet, including her man, Aaron H. All of a sudden, nobody got nothing to say. All of a sudden, everybody mute. Ain't got nothing to say. I'm the one bringing it forward. I'm the one trying to protect Sandia. Mm. And Jody pops off. Everybody lying. They capping. No, now I'm tugging on a man. Really? See, you gotta be Diamond, you gotta be mindful. You say stuff like that, you give a woman a reputation.
mm-hmm. Because as far as or as far as I know, I don't remember her doing that. I know she kind of, when they had that talk at the first episode, and he was saying what he was saying, and she kind of, co-signed it and all that stuff. I mean, I think they kind of shook hands or whatever. I don't know. They kind of did
Got a
whatever.
high five across the table in front of everybody.
Yeah, so that's the one thing I remember seeing, but everything else I don't see it. I mean, unless we just didn't see it because the editors were just leaving stuff on the cutting room floor. Um,
Chris said, he touches her shoulder. You touch her shoulder whenever, if they talk or make a point or whatever. And that's about it. But again, that little conversation, like, have I ever been to... No, no. It's like, now, Jody, if you and Chris was getting it on the side, you'd say that anyway. But I digress. I digress. But Diamond is like, nobody else wants to speak. Nobody's backing her up. And now she's looking at Aaron H. Not backing her up.
yeah, honestly, I wouldn't want to. I'm gonna stay mute myself because I
What
mean,
about the I need to know the capacity of the boom boom room, because now we got 4.
I you know the hideaway in Love Island.
Yep.
That's what it's kind of given to me. Is the hideaway in Love Island? Is that sort of space? Like it's not that. It's not. It's just a room or just a bed in like a room. Maybe like a little bench thing in front of the bed, and then like a chair or two.
So
Maybe
how we got 4 people in there?
I don't know, but I'm just saying that's probably the extent of it. Is the extent of the room. It's like I mean, it's literally just a structure, like a single structure, like a single room structure next to the house, and there's a bed and a bathroom and a little bench and then a chair, and that's really about it. I mean, I think someone was sitting on a bed. I don't remember who, but I think
Well,
someone sitting on the bed, and then
what
oh,
I'm saying is the show should say only a couple at a time. We can't be congregating in the boom boom room. Only if you want to boom boom with the folks who enter with you should you be in the room together. But I guess, Aaron H is, trying to continue to teach Josh, you know, how to handle them feet.
you're trying to traumatize me. Stop it.
But
Can't.
Aaron H said he ain't scared to talk.
Mm.
She said, then you should have spoken up. Yeah, because the thing is, like, you know who got your back based on their silence. But also, they also know this ain't the time to talk about it, or the manner in which to talk about it. And we see how Aaron H argues with a woman next week. Mm.
Oh, I don't think I even finished because I kind of since Jay didn't do her live last night, I kind of partially saw the preview for next week, and then because I usually with Jay's live I kind of miss a show that I usually watch after that, like after the Never Ever Met
Uh-huh.
comes on, and so I watched that, and then because I was watching on the stream, the Never Ever Met last night on the stream, and so it ran over a little, like a minute or two past 8 my time, so I quickly went over to watch the other thing that I was watching on
Well,
live TV, and so I didn't really watch the entire preview, but
girl, Aaron is yelling at Diamond's sister who came to visit because they have bad blood.
oh, what in the ooh, baby,
Yeah, he yelling. He raised his voice.
yeah, because I think the part I specifically remember is that I think they were doing some exercises or something, like some actual physical act, like in a gym or something. I think that's what they showed, and that was all I saw. That's all I remember. And I meant to actually watch the preview, but then I forgot about it. I'm like,
Well, the 4 of them decided to skip dinner, Josh and Shay, and Diamond and Aaron H. And I thought that was very hurtful to not be around Jody when it's her time to cook. Very hurtful. Now, I understand what Aaron H is saying. You don't want to eat when folks cook and they mad. But like I put in Kojo's chat at the time, Mama be mad when she cook. And we eat. Mama's cooking, but Mama is still has a sense of love for us. Um, I think it was very hurtful. If I wanted to, if I was Shay and Josh, or I wanted to utilize the boom boom room, and I'm gonna be missing your dinner, I would tell you ahead of time. Say, hey, since most people complain about how we using the boom boom room too much, we gonna use the boom boom room during dinner so that we could vacate and somebody else could have the place overnight. Or it's like I ain't really feeling what you're cooking, but I don't want you to be offended. You should talk to someone. If you know you got dinner plans and you don't want to eat their food, you should at least tell them something. You should at least tell them something. Say, hey, I can't make it. Because it's very hurtful. And even though Jody's like, she don't care, you could tell she cares. She cared. Everybody was there for when Sienna and Brandon, even though they had their big fight, and he cooked, and everybody sat down and ate. So wait a minute. So y'all have a fight with me, and all of a sudden I can't cook. Chris and Sandia had a big fight, and she was cooking, and everybody ate. So I don't get it. But now you're singling her out. Now it's also y'all making her a martyr. I'm sorry. Diamond feels alone, and she's in a room with 4 people, with 3 other people, and it's like y'all need to stop being petty. It'll be. I'll tell you this. Story time. Um, I have gone out to dinner at a restaurant and sat across from someone I cannot stand. And I refuse to eat the restaurant food. He ain't got nothing to do with the restaurant, but I was not in a headspace to eat because I know my stomach would be caught up in knots because of how furious I was at this person. So ain't no way I need to be eaten because I'm mad. But my thing is, it was hurtful. I don't think dinner time should be optional. Optional if you eat, but dinner time at the table, that ain't the way to protest. That ain't the way of trying to be, hurtful. But Millie sat down, and Millie was one of the ringleaders. Millie sat down. Millie was like, "I'm gonna get me a plate." I stood here and watched her cook. She didn't do nothing unsanitary. But yeah, it looked very, very bad that 4 people were missing from the table. Very bad.
Well, what is it? Seaway likes to say petty boots or something like that. Or a sassy apocalypse. I don't know. Whichever, pick your poison.
Who would be the sassy one in this instance?
Maybe more so Diamond, but I would also call her petty boots personally. But
Yep.
But Aaron was getting a little sassy, a little bit, but not too much. So that's why I'm not really gonna say him. But yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. It's kind of like a dinner party, and you're mad at your friend, and you don't come to support their dinner party. No, you suck it up, Buttercup. You're there for a show. Don't now you're adding fuel to the fire. I would barricade that door. Y'all could live in intimacy suite, but it ain't her house.
I think Kojo brought up a good point on his live. Because he was wondering why Diamond was going so hard for Sandia. And he was wondering if maybe she wasn't stood up for when she was younger, and that's why she's trying to stand up for everyone else. Uh, so I do think that was a good point because I didn't think of that because I've been just feeling about Diamond this whole entire time, so I'm trying to figure out like why she's doing what she's doing. So
I could see that. I could see that, but and this could be why Diamond also says she's not a girl's girl. She get into people's business, she misunderstands or she puts in her own 2 cents about it, and then all of a sudden you don't like how the woman reacted to you. So she don't like it ain't she ain't a girl's girl. How she handled it to the thing is it would have been better to be chill and be like, hey girl, do a round robin as to all the ladies, how y'all feel in a relationship.
yeah, that would have been better.
But then you would have to leave Jody out. Because I don't think Sandia would be able to say in Jody's face, you're making me uncomfortable with the way you interact with Chris. I don't think she's telling. I don't think she talks to anybody. So I'm not even going to put it on. Going back to Chris and Sandia, I'm not going to put it to Chris that Chris, stifles her voice. She don't seem like she got a voice much at all.
If she stifles her own voice, that's what it is, really.
Sandia, yeah. So maybe for Diamond, she wasn't allowed to have a voice. She's a PK kid. Don't forget that.
True.
How much voice you gonna have being the pastor's kid? So she didn't have a voice. She couldn't defend herself and be vocal. So when she sees someone about in the same boat, she's like, I need to defend them. I need to defend this woman. But then maybe these are times, Diamond, you gotta watch out. Sometimes the woman gonna turn on you for the sake of her man. Be very careful. Very careful.
Well, yeah. Ugh, I don't know. I'm gonna have to go look at that, preview for next week because I like I said, I didn't finish it all. Um, so normal
Aaron,
life, but yeah.
Aaron H get hot.
I mean, he kind of sounds like me, where he kind of just bottles things up and then just for a long time and then just blows it up and then it, he needs to kind of like work on that. So,
Yeah, he does. He does.
but anyways, um, that was the Never Ever Mets. I'm in the process of watching The Ultimatum South Africa. And if you're following me on Instagram, like I was telling Elsie behind the scenes before live started that I got 10 minutes left of the first episode. So I'm mostly there, but and like at least 5 of that is going to be more content, and then the next 5 I think might be just the credits. But it is,
Spicy.
yes, to put it mildly,
I haven't
it is
watched anything yet, but
well.
ladies and gentlemen, we're gonna be getting into the foreign shows to show that it ain't just the Americans having issues in relationships. Okay.
That's exactly what I was trying to get at with you on Instagram with the episode that I was starting last night because I was like, wait, what in the world is going on? Because
You
some of
can't say you're getting your passport to go to another country and stop having these problems.
yeah, right, because some of these people have been together for not as long as Shay and Josh, but it might as well be because one of them hasn't even made it really past the year. So just to
I
kind of,
don't need you coming to me and I got to give you an ultimatum. I'm sorry.
I mean, It's just it's definitely.
Yeah, I wish the show had another name.
It's been well. I mean, most of them kind of give them ultimatums because I understand like two of them for sure because come on, it's like what are we doing here? Being here this long and you haven't locked it down yet. I don't get it. It's weird. So I get it for two of them, or mostly get it for two of them, but some for one for sure was just like you'll see because
Of course, I'm gonna go see. I'm definitely going to go see.
I'm trying not to say anything because like I want to say something, but I kind of don't want to say something because I haven't because we decided we wanted to do 3 episodes because there's 10 episodes total, but the first 9 have all been released so far, and the 10th episode's not gonna come out till the 24th, I think it said, of May. So,
Okay.
we got like 2.5 weeks.
Two and a half weeks till the reunion.
Mm-hmm. So, I
That's
don't
too
know.
long.
I mean, well, good thing because I'm trying to space this out because I don't want to do a whole binge yet. So, I mean, if it's taking me so long just to do for one episode right now, then yeah, it's probably for the best. Um, but well, the reason why I'm taking a little bit to kind of finish first episodes because um the people's names are different than what I'm used to. So I'm trying to kind of I want to do is I want to kind of hear how to pronounce the names because it's different than mine. So I want to definitely make sure I know how to say it properly before we start doing it. So
Same,
I don't.
same. I would do the same thing. I'd want to hear myself, talk about, say it along with them.
So because I mean I know how I get when people butcher my name. So I'm like let me just kind of hear how their name sounds. I mean, there's a few that aren't really, or like half of them aren't really. I don't need to worry about, but the other half, I'm like, I need to kind of hear it. But
Right.
so we're gonna figure out when we're gonna do those lives because we were thinking about doing
Oh
the
yes.
live. But yeah, you'll see that coming
Shortly.
very shortly. But thank you guys for coming. Much appreciated. And we will be back for sure next week on Saturday for the Never Ever Mets episode 5. Because it sounds like it's gonna be spicy. So, bye guys.